Okay, so for 111s, this is project 4. Has anybody done this project?
That's one I'm on.
That should be where everybody's at. So it is a piece of 1.5 inch square, and you're gonna saw it a little over 1.5 inches long. Its program, or its its main goal is to start to get you familiar with what we call circular interpolation. So that's going in circles. Everything is interpolation. Every type of move. So a feed move is lineal interpolation. This is just circular interpolation. So G2s and G3s.
What'd you say it's saw a little over?
Yeah, I saw a little over 1.5 inches long. It finishes at 1,490. Just I don't know, 155 would be good. So 50 thousandths would be great for the length on that. Sides will be 1.5 inches stock. So on this project, we're going to be talking about clockwise and counterclockwise rotation. So when we're on the outside of this, milling the outside part of it, we're going to have this square, basically a cube. We're going to go around the outside of it in a clockwise motion. Okay. And then we're going to create a diameter that is 995 on the outside of it. Does this seem like a project that you'd use cutter compensation on or not? Remember what cutter compensation is? It's when it turns the tool basically to a needle, and you can really use any size diameter tool that you want. So you could use a 3-inch shell mill to mill the outside of this, or you could use a 1/2 inch end mill to mill the inside of it. You could use a 1/4 inch end mill on the outside of this.
As long as you specify how big
What's that?
as long as you specify how big the tool is in your offset.
Right, but what I'm saying is, does this seem like a good candidate for using cutter compensation or not? Yes.
Really?
Everything is a good candidate for cutter compensation. That way you're not dependent on creating
I understand. No.
a program to the tool. So if I make a circular move that is 995 and I'm using a 1-inch end mill, and so then I have to go out the radius of the end mill. Let's just say I run out of 1-inch end mills for the day, and now I'm stuck to changing to a 3/4 end mill. I have to rewrite the program or bring the program back to the programmer so that they can recreate the program. If I use cutter compensation, as long as I've given myself enough lead in, lead out, then I'm really good to go on whatever it is that I'm doing. So how do you think that you would mill this part?
With the Lego thing up first, wasn't you?
With the nub up, yeah, the turn diameter or the round diameter up, yeah, I think that's pretty common. Face mill across the top of it, maybe.
At least 1/1000 of an inch, because you're taking off literally 1/1000 of an inch.
What do you mean?
We're at 1.5 inches, so we're taking off 1/1000 of an inch just to get the height of it anyway, right?
We're gonna saw it about 1.55. We're taking off, like if you saw it at 1.5, you'd be taking off 0.100 of an inch, not 1/1000 of an inch. So 0.001, not 0.01. So give yourself a little bit of stock to play with. Now here's gonna be the kicker on this, is that all of your factory edges are gonna be either this way or this way. The bottom side's gonna be a saw cut.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that leave you a potential to? Your part could be in like this or this, right?
Right.
In the vice jaws.
Should you face the sides too?
I wouldn't face the sides. So the sides should be 1.5 inches stock. All 4 sides should be 1.5 inches stock. Your top and bottom are not necessarily going to be square, straight, or perpendicular.
So you can face those.
Yeah, you'll face the top and the bottom. But so when I put that in the vise, I would indicate the side of the part when it's sitting in the vise. Let's just say this is our part. We're going to put it in like this in the vise, and then we can assume that these sides will be square, the front and the back.
Right.
But we don't know, since it's saw cut, how square this is going to be. So we need to run an indicator up the sides of this to make sure that these are square. So that might be tapping this way or this way to get that. We don't care if the bottom's sitting flat. We're gonna mill the top part of it and we're gonna make it flat. Then we'll have 5 sides square. Then we'll flip it over, then we'll put it down in the parallels,
Face it again.
and then we'll face it again on the second operation.
Right.
This operator, or this particular program, I think has 3 programs to it.
Yeah.
And so we'll get those things done. So after you have 5 sides square, then flipping it to the back side of it to do that part, no big deal. Then you're just putting it down in the vise. Everything's square. We're good to go. So
Parallels will be used for that, then, or we use parallels for the first.
yeah, I definitely use parallels for the first part. How high do you think it needs to sit up?
Okay. 1/4 inch out of the vise, or not 1/4 inch out of the vise, but 1/4 inch down in the vise?
A 1/4 inch in the vise would be fine. It's only milling down to 370 thousandths deep into the vise. You're fine. I just started and I got a video running, so we're literally just 6 minutes in. So on this one, really this area here, how thick is this area right here?
You mean, the picture to where?
I'll tell you, if I wanted to measure this distance, what is that distance?
Let me pull up so I can see better. I can come up there.
So you take the whole entire length of it and you minus the top part with the,
So what is that?
can't see.
You're gonna subtract the 0.37 off the 1.49, right?
2.1.
Probably pretty close, yeah. It's really about 1 1/8 inches. So that's how much you're left over inside of here. So we can really have,
1.12.
so we could have 1 inch in the vise and be totally fine with it. So the more you can put in the vise, the better grip you get. So that's gonna be really good. And so first operation, we'll mill one side of it. Second operation, we'll flip it around and we'll mill maybe the other side of it. And honestly, these could go interchangeably. You could do this side first and then do this side. And then the next operation, it only shows one hole, but I actually want you to do all 4 sides around the outside of it, okay? So that means you're going to set it on its side in the vise jaws like this. Drill the hole. Then I want you to rotate it 90 degrees. Drill the hole, rotate it 90 degrees, drill the hole, rotate it 90 degrees, drill the hole. So you have a hole on all 4 sides.
Just a hole, no tap.
It is just a 1/4 inch deep, or it's a 1/4 inch diameter hole, 1/2 inch deep.
So, we're gonna start with the Lego top, rotate it 90 degrees, to the side, right?
Well, let's look at the organization of the programs. Tell us that.
I've already looked at it, you need to make sure your offsets are right too. Your offset's different.
Yeah.
Me and Penny figured that out yesterday, Thursday.
Worked on it. We decided there's no way we were gonna run that yet because we
Yeah.
don't know enough.
I was gonna run it, but I couldn't figure out which way to flip it.
Okay, this says, it says milling widget 3, but it's milling widget 4, isn't it? Let's see. That's facing across the outside of it. So we can see. that's the right program. That's the right program. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure what happened there. So this program says you're really going to need a 3-inch shell mill, a 1/2-inch end mill, and a 3/4 spot drill. It says 1.5 by 1.5, so that's the stock size, and 1.63 for the overall length. Tools are set 1, 2, and 3. We'll change that at the machine. We'll face mill across the top of it. What offset are we using? What work offset? 254, great. So we're gonna come in, and this program, it shows it doing the pocket first. So it's gonna come in and do the pocket milling for it.
That's the backside of it.
Yeah, so that's the inside part of it.
Okay.
And what you're gonna do there is you're gonna face it off. You're gonna use the 2 flute 1/2-inch end mill to do the pocket of it.
And then drill your hole.
Yeah, that's a cam program, so it's pretty long. Down to the end of it. Because there it is. Now, the last tool on it is the spot drill. What would the spot drill be doing on that part? Chamfering. This is a part where almost everybody has some kind of problem, either over chamfering or under chamfering it. Either they've messed up something on the tool length, on the tool diameter, and they blow out this giganto chamfer around the outside of it. Or
Go down and touch.
it's inside and it never makes any motion at all, okay? So we're gonna use some adjustment in our diameter to get that right. We wanna leave,
We have to use the same tab. I mean, not the same tab, the same center drill or whatever.
do you have to use the same center drill?
Like the same size as everybody else's then?
It doesn't make a difference.
Because I wasn't sure, because you said something about the diameter, if you're getting the diameter wrong, because some of them have different diameter.
Yeah, but that's not what determines the outside of the chamfer. So, the spot drill really makes 0 difference on how big it is. Really, probably, I don't wanna say bigger is better, but bigger gives you more availability of sidewall to use, or angled face to use. If you go in using an 1/8-inch chamfering tool or an 1/8-inch spot drill, that would obviously be too small because the chamfer is larger than that. You could use probably a 3/8, a 1/2-inch, or a 3/4, and all be fine in making that out.
The one that just goes down and runs around.
It is, it's gonna come down into the middle and then come around it and then circle around to do that inside chamfer.
That's what I thought.
So, all right, let's go back. I'm gonna close, I just downloaded it.
Love it.
June 1, the green's over.
So it's gonna be face milling this top side, okay? This side here, it's gonna be pocket milling this inside, and it's gonna be chamfering this around the outside. Chamfer, 50 thousandths typical. Typical means unless it has a separate dimension to it, that's the size that I want it, okay? So anytime you see a chamfer on that part, anywhere on the entire thing, unless it says this chamfer should be 90 thousandths, then typical means anytime you see a chamfer on the part from there on out, it should be 50 thousandths. That keeps the pro or the drawer from having to consistently say 50,000 chamfer, 50,000 chamfer, 50,000 chamfer.
And all this is from the middle, right?
All of this, I don't know, let's see.
It says it on the first 2 at least.
Yeah, so let's go to 65. It says X0, Y0, center of the part, Z0, the top of the part.
Yep, everything says center of part, top of part.
That one program, 64, that is not the right program for it. I'll give you the right program for it here in just a minute. I don't know
Programs on my
where it came from.
flash drive.
Actually, I know where it came from, but it's just not the right one to be put in there.
2, 3. Got one done.
But I will replace it in just a moment.
Right before.
Yeah.
That made me go home. Still don't feel good. I don't even feel this thing for a week.
Wow.
It's ridiculous, dude.
All right, program 2 for milling widget 4. I'm gonna download it real quick. Now, if you look at it, it also says X0, Y0 is in the center of the part. So do I need to retouch off my X and Y?
Yeah, well, you turned it over, so you're gonna have to.
You got
Let's put a
bi-stops.
bi-stop in there.
I don't have bi-stops.
You know how to use them.
Why not?
Did you make one yet?
Not yet, but I can.
You don't have one?
I can find one.
No, you don't.
Just get a Sharpie.
Sharpie is definitely not close enough.
Draw on the line.
Right here, where the line is big.
50 thousandths?
Change it, no, when you go to adjust the diameter of your tooling, are you, can you explain how you go about?
Sure. So if I go in and make my chamfer, what I'm gonna do is I think I'm going to, I think best case scenario in something like this, I would tell my chamfering tool that it is longer. It's a spot drill. It's a spot drill. Yeah, so it's got a 45 on the bottom, or it's got 90 degree on the bottom included. I would say my tool is longer than it really actually is, so that it does not go as deep as it actually should.
By how much?
100 thousandths. And then I would watch it as it goes around. And if I'm like, okay, that looks like it's almost there.
You're just wanting to barely touch the.
Just gonna go, just kiss the inside of that area, just make a chamfer around the inside of it. Okay? So with that, I'm gonna tell my tool, so let's just say I go out and measure and it's 4.5 long. I'm gonna say my tool is 4.6. So that way it doesn't go down as deep as it should. Or I could also say that my tool is larger than it is. So let's just say my tool is a 1/2 inch. I'm gonna say that it's 600 thousandths, so that it actually moves the center of the tool in more. And then the idea is that you'll just keep feathering it out, you know, so maybe 20 thousandths, 20 thousandths, 20 thousandths. You might go around it a couple times to get it. But then that way you're kind of sneaking up on that dimension. That's something that we do all the time. Is especially if you're working on a part, let's just say you're a Gardner Dimper and you're working on a big casting and it's got a 22-inch diameter hole and you're using an end mill for it, which would not be common for you to do, but let's just say for this day we're having to use an end mill for it. You don't want to just go, hey, 1/2 inch end mill, 22-inch hole, go, and it blows out that hole. Because this casting alone might be $1,000. So we want to sneak up on it. So we're gonna lie to it in some areas, and if we're doing a bore, we tell it that the tool's bigger, so we actually cut smaller. That's an advantage in cutter compensation. So anytime that I want to make then as I bring, let's see, so I'm doing a 22-inch hole, I tell it that the tool's 100 thousandths difference. I bore it out or mill it out, and I'm like, well, it's 21 inches, 930 thousandths. Woo! It's a good thing I didn't say that it was its actual size, because I would blew my hole out. So now I got 70 thousandths more to work with. I'm just gonna keep sneaking that thing out. Okay, so just inch it out till you get to size. And so that's a really, really common one to do it. This one is very, very, very common for people to get their chamfers wildly wrong on it. Like on the cone side of it, the Lego, the turned diameter, sometimes I'll get full chamfer around the outside of it. And I'm like, what's wrong? Instead of too long, I went too short on my tool. Instead of going 100 thousandths too long, I went 100 thousandths shorter. 100 thousandths shorter then makes it go 100 thousandths deeper.
Oh, wow.
You get a chamfer then that's 100 thousandths, well, not really 100 thousandths, but you get a chamfer that's larger. So I want you to play with this one and sneak up on it. Don't just run it. It's very common that we will sneak up on dimensions like this. This is a perfect one for us to do stuff like this with.
So height's probably the quickest and good.
Purposely made the program wrong.
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. But no matter what, even if the program's right, you wanna do that. Like, the idea is not scrap number one.
Right.
Right? The idea is to get a good one off every time in a reasonable amount of time.
The last part, reasonable amount of time thing.
Setup, all the setup, what's a reasonable amount of time for?
For this setup, for first operation.
You gave us that.
Oh, like if we were in a job, like, okay, I don't know. I'd probably give
You
you,
would prefer us take a little extra time.
yeah,
On setup because you wanna get it right, and then you would just do your run after that.
yeah. So if I were to say,
We're really just critiquing it to get it to where we can run it, 100 times.
yeah. So you're setting up something that is consistent. So yeah, because oftentimes I'm not concerned about just a single part. You know, can I now make 50 of them if I needed to, the same way. So in the way that ours is set up, if your vise is loose and you have no tools in the machine, and you're gonna run this entire part, for you guys, I think 30 minutes is probably about right to get this thing set up and run to first operation. 30 minutes would be about accurate. And somebody who, you know, you can find the things that you need in a reasonable amount of time, you know.
Put up, their drills are bucket, it's all in the bucket. There's no 5/16 drill in a cubby right now.
Well, I mean, so it's just a matter of trying.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
you
so
gotta sit there.
if 5/16 is 5/16. By now, you should be able to eyeball 5/16.
I'm saying,
So,
I can almost do it if I'm here more than.
Always go to the bucket first, because they're always right there.
yeah, I mean, in the cubby hole is the place to go first. And then if they're not there, you turn around and grab them out of the bucket, that's fine, so. But you should be able to, I mean, I pull from the bucket all the time, but you should just be able to, you should not be so dependent upon a label. I mean, the labels are great, and it's great that they're in there. In the same way that you should always verify that the drill's sharp. Don't just grab the drill, you know.
You do realize we don't know how to sharpen it.
These guys do.
Okay.
They've already been through drill sharpening, yeah.
What
So-
class is that taught in?
101, yeah. So,
I don't do backwards like I did.
right. I mean, even if you can't get the drill sharp, you need to be able to identify, this doesn't look sharp. Like a knife blade, you can tell when a knife blade doesn't look sharp. So I'm not necessarily saying you should know how to sharpen it. I'm saying you should be able to identify when something's not sharp or when something's broke. You know, I mean, I don't want to, I would find it odd for you to take if you had a 3-flute, 3/4 end mill, one flute was completely shredded off of it and you're using it. I'm not asking you to resharpen the end mill. I'm saying is you should be able to go, no go on this guy, man, bad. That's all I'm asking for on that. So just be able to identify what that is. Now, this is the other side of the part. We'll call it the bottom side of the part for this. You use a 1/2-inch end mill and a 3/4 spot drill. So X0, Y0 is still in the center of the part. Is there anything that can remain the same from the last operation? What?
I know there is though. I looked at it.
Tool heights, absolutely, because we are using a 1/2-inch end mill and we are also using a spot drill from the last operation, so that's perfect. Those two tools.
Face mill in for the last piece.
You can keep your face mill in, you won't use it again.
I thought we were using it on both sides.
Nope. We're end milling it on that side.
The other side. Okay.
So is there, in the work offset, is there anything that can remain the same from before?
Work offset? No.
Tool offset can, what were the tools again? I might be wrong here.
Well, we just said that we could keep the tool offsets.
So we
Yeah,
can't
the
keep the
work
work offset because we're flipping it over and we don't have a vice stop to stop it exactly where it was.
Your work shouldn't move.
No, your work moved because you took your part out.
Rotate it.
Now, I wouldn't say you'd have to do your 2 and 3 block if your
What do you mean?
parallels,
Use the
if
same
you already have your
parallels,
Y,
Same amount.
your parallels are there, so it's not
That's
gonna
the work
change. Your
offset,
height's not
but
gonna change.
now-
You might not have to do your one.
He's on the bottom of the part.
Yeah, well, 'cause you're gonna put it on
Are you
top.
gonna have to do your Z? Can you keep your
You're
Z?
gonna have to-
You can't keep your Z's. He's now on the bottom of the part.
Oh,
To the right each time.
So no, you can't keep any, or, well, I was thinking because the 1, 2, 3 block, that's a Z, right?
Yeah.
Z.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, cause I don't
So
think
your
the
parts
height
go
would
from the
change.
height to the side.
So your height does change because one, you were on the first, you're on the top of it. Now you're on the bottom of it.
And the side of it.
So that changes. Huh?
How do you, set it for the bottom?
We're gonna go on top of the parallels. We're just gonna set the 1, 2, 3 block down on top of the parallels and measure off, we'll just measure off the parallels.
And does it tell you in here what size parallels to use? You said about an inch.
Yeah, we'll have about an inch sticking up. I mean, I would probably 1.5 inch parallels are my go-to for most things. This one, you're gonna have to have, you know, you've got the Lego nub, sticking up. So as long as you got a 1/2 inch in the vise, you're probably fine. I think 1.5 inch parallels will probably cover every operation on this. So Y didn't move though, did it? Y only moved if you move the vise.
Which,
Yeah, that's true.
So Y stays the same.
That's the only thing that's gonna stay the same.
But that's the thing that stays the same.
And it's the part
the
with,
last thing you have to touch off.
Yes, it's still 1.5 inches.
You're gonna touch off X and Z.
You touch off X and Z, so Y's already done. So see how you start to get, like, things start to go faster as you go because you're going, oh, I just used 2 of those 3 tools, or I used, of the 3 tools that were there, 2 of those I've already used, so I can still reuse those 2 tools. Y is already there, so now I just have to, I set my part back up to similar, but I lay it down because the bottom is now square, set it down on top of the parallels. I find the center for X, so I edge find, move over 3/4 inch plus my 100 thousandths, get in the middle. Part 0 set. I bring my 1, 2, 3 block down, set it on top of the parallels. Like I might stick my parallels out the side of the vise, set my 1, 2, 3 block on top of it, bring it down to it. You do it like that. And then, so I just have to set X and Z. So that's done. So it's like you actually start to do less steps as you go. One thing I would do though is I would make sure that I would go X0, Y0, and I would go G50 whatever, G0, G90, G50 whatever to X0, Y0, making sure it goes to the middle of the part. So you know it's going to do it. This offset, the first offset was 54. This offset's 56. Okay.
The next one's 55. Well, actually, you said that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to jump back in and do some tweaking on that one because
That's our first operation too, ain't it?
no, this is program 2. The last one that we just looked at, the side hole is operation 3.
This is the,
No, I was saying the operation 3's mill widget 3 at the top of the page.
The first program is not for this program. It's not for this part. It's not even named the same. So
That one then?
yeah. I'm not sure where that came from. I will put a new one in there shortly.
it was Justin, he did it, he made that program.
I did make the original program, but I didn't teach the class last, so I don't know where the program came from. So
I don't even know all these, I don't even get it, all these different programs. Is it like, so it's a different part, but it was on this thing, or was it the part before you made tweaks to? I have no idea what you're trying to say about, you made it. Is it part 3 or part 4 that you're talking about? Part 4. Okay, well, what was the one that you said that put in there on accident? Was that part 3 or part 4?
3.
Okay, there we go. That's what my brain wasn't understanding.
So I cut my piece too big.
cut your corners already?
Well, I cut it Thursday, but it's too big because the top
So
one
you want
said.
to not
So just cut it shorter.
I don't know, I'm just.
switch over to 3?
Widget number 3.
Yeah.
You still do widget number 3, but in module 4, this program don't do the program widget 3 because you just did that part. If you have already completed widget 3, this program just must have got dropped in there along with it. So,
It's in module 5 under mine.
so widget number 4 is what it is though.
Yeah, milling lab 4.
So, you need an end mill and a spot drill for this one. It says 3/4. It could be a 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch would still take care of what you need. So, because you're not making anything that's really that big. So,
So we're making program 3 for the 4. Is what I see.
Oh.
But at the top it says widget
you're gonna use,
0365 and 0366.
Yeah, I'm.
correct, that's all you're using, just 3065, 3066.
And 3064 is obviously.
Yes, 3065 and 3066. Those are your programs that you're going to use. I will bring you a 3067 to drop in there. That'll be the third operation program for that.
For what? Sorry.
I know my program.
305, worldwide. I like that one, Justin.
These are the two then, right?
Justin? Not so, not so.
And 64 is.
It's Mr. 305.
It looks,
305.
I mean, it looks similar and all that, but
I always think of Justin as being Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo.
Hulk.
Scientist.
Okay, in that, let's see, that is module 5 then, right? Yeah. So in that, we are also gonna be doing our, if you haven't already got your CNC mill operator done, you need to get it done. You need to do your drill chart conversion quiz if you haven't already done it. We have counting starting today, we still got a few more minutes. We've got, I would like to this week grab you guys for turning and milling for the Haas operator. And then also, we have, as of today, you have basically 2 weeks left, which is really not 2 full weeks, remember, so. Like a week and a half, essentially, yeah. So, you'll have, you got module 6 and module 7 still left to do. And then we'll have a module 8. If we have, module 8 is just kind of what I leave in there for some grace period in case we start to fall behind or we still get way ahead. Get way ahead and we can start working on some stuff for, you know, some additional stuff so that we kind of prep ourselves for the next semester. So what we're working on right now, the only thing we need to focus on is module 5. Okay, so you have everything that you need to get started right now. So go ahead and get started on that guy. If you would today, choose a mill that you have not been commonly running. So if you have a tendency to go to the one that is always connected to the robot, try to go to a different one. If you have a tendency to go to one, a certain mini mill all the time, go to a different one.
I call having one.
A mini
Call
mill?
dibs on one.
Which one?
The one that's,
Oh, on a mini mill?
yeah.
The one without the.
I usually use.
I've used them
Can't
all.
use it
I don't have
anymore.
to hear them, man.
I've used all of them.
I've used all of them.
Use one that you don't commonly use.
Whatever one's
I've
not
done
open,
different one every
I'm out there, I'm gonna put my program in.
The only one I haven't been on is the one for
Most likely, the vices should not be
Square.
square, but they probably are. You disconnect them.
Well, we just decided that took so much time to fix, it was crazy.
But
On that one,
that's the thing that they're gonna want you to do at the job.
That's
Nobody's
like-
putting,
That's what, like, that guy came in here, Mark, you were here, whatever his name was, Mark something, he came in here, Mark Mason, there we go, he came in here and he was like, yeah, I go out there and see these guys set up, I have no idea how they set up these machines. That's like the hardest thing for them, that's why they want us, is because they don't know how, people can run them easy, but setting them up is hard.
getting, you know, I know everybody goes, they do it on the manual mills all the time. They're like, this is my mill, I'm gonna leave the head square, I'm gonna leave the vise in. I'm like, okay, so that's like going, I'm gonna be a race car driver and I'm never gonna learn how to race. Right, like that's the thing, right? And so if you go and you go, man, that sucks because I went through that whole school and now all they have me doing is being an operator at the machine because I can't set the machine up. That's because you avoided doing the thing that you were supposed to be doing all the time. The guy who now makes $35 an hour is the guy who set his vise up every single day. And you're like, well, that sucks.
Well, even if you walk up there, you can't assume.
You can never assume.
I check it every time.
I have on countless occasions, taken on a manual mill and tweaked the head out 30 thousandths, and somebody drills holes all day long crooked. And I will watch them drill holes crooked all day long,
Check the head and.
and then square the head. So they drill holes all around their par,
I feel like you would laugh.
and then they look through their part, and they're like, you can see the hole going this way, and they're like, machine's wrong. And I'm like, machine is definitely not wrong, because it only does what you tell it to. So, just telling you,
I feel like you would walk by and just have a big old smirk on your face as I'm drilling all.
yeah. Few joys in life. Few joys in life. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video, and then